Hey there, moguls. It's me, Marshall Silver, your personal millionaire maker. Getting very excited about my brand new show, 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'm going to broadcast live to you. In the first hour of the broadcast, I'm going to give you content, information for better sex, more money, emotional, mental, physical, and even spiritual power. I'll also invite some of my cool multi-millionaire and billionaire friends onto the show to give you more direction, more advice, more strategies and gambits for having it all. The second hour is what I'm most excited about. It's when I get a chance to chat with you. Yes, you. Where you can call in, talk to me, ask me questions. And if you say the secret word of the day, you could win $5,000 cash. At the very least, if you're the most interesting call of the day, you could also win 10 ounces of freshly minted Marshall Silver 999 Fine Silver. All of that and more. Brand new Mercedes-Benz sedan or SUV up for grabs. My personal Rolls-Royce Phantom up for grabs. All the knowledge to get everything you want and so much more. All you got to do is log in to the show to get information about its release coming up. 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, coming to you live from the bunker right here at Studio Money. I'm Marshall Silver, your personal millionaire maker.
Let me bring in our hypnotist, Marshall Silver.
It's Marshall Silver, ladies and gentlemen, the world's fastest hypnotist.
Well, hello there. Good morning. Welcome home. I'm Marshall Silver, your personal millionaire maker. And I'm giving away loads of pure silver and cash. Today we got, $5,000 up for grabs. It's growing again. That is true. The last time somebody guessed the secret word of the day on Marshall Silver Live, the person won $13,500. $5,000 up for grabs right now. Nobody's doing this. Nobody's giving away this kind of cash. So if you're brand new to the show, and most people are because we're brand new, then you would know that the cash is given away via secret word. Inside this package is a secret word. Say the secret word. You win absolutely a boatload of money, $5,000. And if you are interesting when you call in, and I like you, and everybody else likes you, then it's 10 ounces of pure silver. That's what that is. Speaking of 10 ounces of pure silver, I didn't let my producer know who won yesterday. I was just tallying it up as we were speaking. Christian Jensen. Christian Jensen, you won 10 ounces of pure Marshall Silver just for being fascinating, asking good questions, spreading the love online. Clearly, everybody else loves you because it wasn't even close. Everybody voted for you. So, Christian Jensen, congratulations. You are the winner of 10 ounces of pure silver from Marshall Silver Live. So, way to go. Today's show is really awesome. It's in a field that I love so much and a field that I've had a lot of experience in. As you know, a lot of the people that come to my sales events and our educational events are real estate investors and business owners. And without a doubt, by far, the majority of the people that come to our events are real estate investors. And I think it's two reasons. Number one, real estate is a phenomenal way to make money in this day and age. Right now, the market is primed on so many levels. And we're going to talk about that today. More than that, though, one of the things I know about people that are real estate investors is they embody everything we teach on this show. They embody the practice of taking risks. No risk means no goodies. They are used to dealing with larger numbers. And, if you're going to do something and make $1, you might as well do the same thing in a better place in front of better people and make $10. So they're used to taking a look at where's the bigger deal. And then ultimately, yes, they're focused on making money, and money cures most things. While we've had a few really good real estate investor types on the show, this is the first person we've had on the show who actually helps to fund those people. He is the driving force behind the nation's #1 mortgage broker, and he's revolutionized how loan officers serve their clients, offering unparalleled financial solutions and real estate resources. Under David's leadership, C2 Financial stands at the forefront of this industry, blending comprehensive services with a vision for continuous growth and innovation. So, whether you're a professional in the financial sector, whether you're interested in real estate or investing in real estate, or you're simply fascinated by really awesome, innovative leadership, David Tempo's story is a testament to the power of visionary leadership and the impact that it can have on an industry. So, as always in the chat, please welcome with a nice big Marshall Silver live welcome, David Tempo. David, welcome to the show. So glad to have you with me. I'm excited about our time together. Welcome.
Marshall, great to be here. Thank you so much.
Where are you? Where are you coming from? Where are you right now?
I'm at my office in Del Mar here in San Diego, California. I woke up this morning at my place in Lucadia, went for a quick surf, and got to the office. So starting the day off right.
So did you serve Beacons Beach?
No, they shut down the stairs right there. I live at Grandview.
Ah, very cool. So
Yeah.
I used to have the home that is directly to the north of the parking lot for Beacons Beach.
Okay.
It's a triplex that's there. And when I first made the decision back in the 90s to live on the ocean, that was the first home that I had right there on the beach. It was awesome. I loved it. And I was always worried about that cliff giving way.
Yeah, it's a great spot to be. Those cliffs, I guess we're one earthquake away from me being oceanfront, about 3 houses back. So, but that all the rain we've had in San Diego has led to a tremendous amount of erosion. So it's washed away a lot of that path that Beacons has because it's just a dirt path that goes down. So they shut the stairs down, which is making my break a little bit more crowded up at Beacons because there's a parking lot and a staircase. So
I get it. My one of my homes after that is right on the ocean in Carlsbad, and
Okay.
it was a brand new construction home. It was the last house on the south end of Carlsbad Beach, and I was at my main residence in Vegas one day, and I got a call from my next door neighbor, and he said, "You might want to head back to your beach house. The cliff gave way." So I headed back to the beach house, and sure enough, it looked like somebody had taken a spatula and cut into lasagna. And my cliff specifically hadn't given way, but the entire cliff in front of his house right beside me had completely given way. And so he and I spent 750,000. I think he spent about 450,000 on building a retainer wall so people didn't die and the two houses didn't fall into the beach. And we got no end of grief from the Coastal Commission. They just said, no, you can't build a wall there. You're stopping the dirt and the houses from falling into the water. And I said, yeah, that's kind of the idea, actually. But the Coastal Commission is an extortionist society. So, it's headed up by attorneys that have nothing better to do than, they don't want to chase ambulances. So they're chasing very rich homeowners to extort money out of them.
They live far from the coast. They live far from the coast and get angry with owners trying to protect the integrity of their home on the bluff. So I don't know. It's definitely a point of contention. I'm glad your house didn't wash away.
Interestingly, I'm away from that. I'm gone from that house for, gosh, I think 8 years now. And it's gone through 3 owners, and all 3 owners, because I had to disclose to the sellers, to the buyers that bought it from me, that I was in a lawsuit with Coastal. The new owners, 3 owners down the road, are still in the same lawsuit with Coastal.
It's crazy. I mean, it's not just the homes, but actually people I know personally because I grew up in North County, I grew up in Encinitas, and I know folks that have lost their lives because of erosion of that cliff. And it's
horrible.
It's horrible.
It's crazy.
It's horrible.
It's silly that anybody would fight, and we built a beautiful retaining wall. It's all color. It was formed to look like natural rock. We spent the money to paint it perfectly. People can come now with their pack-and-plays for their babies, put them right up against the wall. They don't have to worry about dying. And I can't imagine anybody thinking that that wasn't a good thing. And anybody that does think that's not a good thing has a different agenda. So enough about all of that drama. Let's talk about the good stuff. First and foremost, I love the mortgage industry. I love it because it is, without a doubt, one of the cornerstones of our economy. And I have trained a lot of mortgage professionals. And when I saw that you were the guest on my show, because I don't always personally booked. When I saw you were the guest on my show, I was extremely excited. And I didn't know that you were actually in Del Mar, because Del Mar is actually one of my favorite beaches down here in Southern California. So tell me
Great spot.
about your history. Tell me about C2 Financial, and tell me, the reason you've done so remarkably well.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. Like I said, I grew up in Encinitas. First class of the day was Surf PE. And I grew up kind of in the mortgage industry. My father pioneered the high split mortgage brokerage shop. He was in commercial real estate and got out of that and got into mortgage lending back in the 125 days, which was a debt consolidation second. And so he was a real marketing guy and figured out who was the right borrower for that loan. And then, built his business. And actually, it was back when we got this business, back when, you're taking loans on carbon copy paper. You're filling it out by hand. You're taking one red sheet, one orange sheet, one white sheet, and putting it in 3 different places. And he was an Excel guru. And he actually took that and created that in Excel, and then hit the streets and just promoted that and said, hey, use my software, join my company for 90-10, where we take 10%, they take 90%. We have all the back end infrastructure. So we handle legal, licensing, compliance, all the lender relations, just a tremendous amount of stuff that allows a loan officer to focus on what they're really good at. And so growing up that business, always very passionate about it, but wanted to cut my own path. And I did commercial real estate brokerage, commercial real estate banking, and then commercial loan brokerage for quite some time, and came back to residential mortgage brokerage to lead this company. I grew a commercial division prior to that at C2 Financial. We have C2 Commercial. We also have a sales side and a reverse side. So we're very diversified. And our goal is really to continue to enable the power of home ownership. I think you talk about wealth and generating money and acquire, I think one of the telltale signs of somebody being very wealthy is they own a lot of real estate. It's certainly something tangible. If you want to get something from a bank, they want to see collateral. And our goal is to make sure that we can enable that power of home ownership. And it doesn't matter if you're a mega millionaire or it's your first generation buying a home with not a lot to put down. We as a broker have the ability to source the best financing that's particular to you and the nuances of your background and your financials. So it's a pretty cool spot to be.
Very cool. Your dad's name was Ron, correct?
That is correct.
Yes. Yeah. Again, I've been in San Diego. We moved from Michigan in 77. And I have been in this industry, what I do now, training and teaching and everything we do on the educational side, since 94. And since I've been in Southern California, your dad's name would pop up from time to time.
Very cool.
That is very cool. So tell me, these days, obviously, you're one of the top, if not the top, mortgage industry agency in the country. Tell me how that came to be. Tell me what does C2 stand for?
We built this business one loan officer at a time, and we have 1,100 loan officers. I believe they're the savviest in the nation. Pound for pound, our loan officers produce more loans, more volume than any other brokerage house out there in the nation. So that goes to show that the loan officers we have a very high acumen. They're very talented and very good at sourcing business, structuring business, and making sure they're delivering an exceptional service. We enable them to do that. We're really kind of, as we like to say it, we're not here to hold your hand, and you don't want your hand held, but we do have all that back end infrastructure and culture and network and communities to support them. So it's a unique place because people, loan officers specifically to our company, come from all walks of life. They've been, at a bank or some retail shop where they were getting either fed leads, or they had sales manager on top of sales manager on top of sales manager. And that is a function of their rates and their pricing and how much they get paid and what they deliver to their customer. And they get to the point of where, well, I've learned enough. I want to eat what I eat what I kill. So I want to go out. These are my clients. I want to deliver good products and services to them. And I want to make the money that I'm deserving of. And that's how they generally land at our door. And historically, it's been a more seasoned, a little bit maybe older loan officer. And nowadays, I think some of my leadership has a lot to do that. Just being, I'm 40 years old. I just turned 40 in January. So I like to attract a younger generation of loan officer with a longer runway. The earlier you can get into an entrepreneurial position at C2 in loan origination or whatever commission sales it is, the more the ceiling, there's no ceiling. There's way more opportunity. And the earlier you get into it, the less risk you have. As we get older, we have a tendency to take on more things, whether it's a wife, whether it's a car, whether it's a house, whether it's all these things. So it's hard to walk away from a job that's paying you, that allows you to cover that nut. So if you go into something that's commission sales earlier, and you build yourself and you build your business, because anything you get into is going to take time. So the earlier you can get in, the earlier you can get into a place like C2 and tap into all our resources, our mentors, our leadership, all that stuff, the more successful you're going to be earlier on in your life and your career. And that's just going to pay dividends in the long haul.
We love sales. In our community, in our culture, we love sales. As I said, housing sales, without a doubt, are part of the foundation and one of the cornerstones. But I think the main cornerstone in our economy in the U.S., especially, if not worldwide, is sales. If nothing is sold, there's no economy. And so I'm particularly excited because I love this process of selling. We train so many mortgage people. We just had a guy that came through our training program that had a mortgage company in Vegas.
Okay.
And he was considering coming in and being trained by us. And when he came and trained, it was a lot of money. He was making $250,000 a year, which is a nice living. And I'm going to talk about averages that mortgage people, loan officers specifically make. As the broker, he was making about $250,000 a year. And frankly, my training program, when he came through, it was $60,000. Well, after, paying taxes and expenses and everything else, that was a pretty hefty chunk. And he said, "What are you going to teach me to do?" And, and I want to get into what you guys do, but he was primarily residential loans.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "You need to figure out how to help the people you do business with do more business." And so we put together an entire training program for him to offer up to his realtors that would actually cause them to sell more homes. He said, "I want to do more loans." I said, "No, you want to solve their dilemma. You want to take care of your customers' challenges. And when you do that, it will take care of your own." Tell me, what is, and by the way, his track record, he quadrupled his production in 3 months. So he was doing as much in a quarter after we got done training him as he was doing in a whole year. Tell me about, obviously, you don't grow an organization like what you've got unless you're doing some phenomenal training. You said something. You said, I'm just turned 40, or about to turn 40. So I bring a younger edge. Tell me about the ideal LO loan officer for you guys right now. Is it a young 20-something?
I don't think age. I mean, sure, age is certainly a factor. I think it's probably late 20s.
It's a factor in hunger.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it really comes down to. If they have that hunger, they're not afraid to get back to the basics. I mean, if it's an older, more seasoned LO, I mean, people got rocked. I mean, we're coming out of a very low interest rate environment, 2s, 3s through COVID, where deals are falling from the skies. And now it's we shifted to a purchase environment, with low inventory. So there's certainly some difficulties in the market to manage as a loan officer, as a realtor, as, even as an investor. I think the perfect LO is somebody that's tenacious, that has a good acumen in kind of financial understanding and, how they can help people, with what they look to do. So there's a sales component, there's a financial and, numbers acumen, and then there's really a personal touch. It's really, you want to help people. And that's really what it comes down to. For me, it's like, I show up every day because I vividly can remember a photo in my mind of my best friend with a pregnant wife needing to move out of the west side of Los Angeles to the valley and buy a home. And there's a photo I took of him with his wife holding a baby and a dog at the front door. That's what it's all about for me. That makes everything for me. And that's what drives me to show up early in the morning, to stay late at night, to make sure that I'm here to help my loan officers be better for their clients, so that experience can be delivered across the nation. So we're in 34 states, 1,100 loan officers, about a corporate staff of 30 people to facilitate the needs of all those 1,100 loan officers. We're approved with about just over 100 lenders. So, and like I said earlier, people make money a lot of different ways, even more so now than ever, especially having to live in, trying to live in some place like California, where it's exponentially more expensive than when somebody could have a job a regular job and buy a home, and it only was, maybe half of their income. Like I just took an Uber from the airport last night, and the guy goes, I was an engineer, for SDG&E back in, 30 years ago, and I bought a house in Mission Valley. It was $110,000, and sure, it was tight, but I was like, I guessed what his salary was like 30 grand then, and he bought a $110,000 house, and he goes, yeah, sure, half my paycheck, a little bit more than half my paycheck went to my house, but I could buy a house. And I just don't know if that's really all that possible. It's definitely not as easy as that was anymore, or people aren't interested in making those types of sacrifices. And I think it's important for people to think long term in terms of, the saying was when I was in brokerage was, if you work hard now, harder than the folks that, if you work hard now, you'll be better prepared than the folks that didn't 40 years from now when they're 40, or whatever that is, or just saying around that. I can't specifically remember it, but it's about that. You put the hard work in now and it pays dividends later.
Yeah, I think that's accurate, that, people don't work as hard as they used to. And I'm reminded, I saw a documentary a few years back, and it was about the television industry and showrunners and people that get TV shows produced and on the air. There were 10 people interviewed for the documentary. 8 were white guys. 1 was a white woman. 1 was a black man. And the woman said how hard it was to be in an industry that was predominantly male. Mm-hmm. And the black guy said how hard it was to be in an industry of white males. And the white males all said what a hard industry it was. And I thought to myself, isn't that the way? Is that sometimes people look for excuses that it's hard. And what if it's just hard? What if that's the norm? So, the Uber driver telling you, I had a house. Sure, I had half of my efforts went to paying my mortgage, but I had a house. Well, again, these days of certain generations living at home with their parents until they're 40 or 50, or till they inherit the house, for God's sake, that's the day that we're in. And my desire is to just change that psychology, certainly with my own children, 13, 11, and 9, to get them to realize, no, you need $1 million in the bank by the time you're 18, or you're not contributing to society. And I'm not saying that to you as an insult. I'm telling you that as an expectation. And that if you'll listen to that expectation by the time you're 18 years old, guess what? The rest of your life is going to be easy. And so, someone like you grew up with your dad busting his butt every single day, building an empire. And your psyche said, well, that's normal. That's what you do. And so second generation, you're blessed because you have that work ethic and you have that ability. Tell me, what's the biggest challenge in hiring new loan officers, building your company beyond the 1,100, which, by the way, is remarkable. That's astounding. What an achievement that is. What is the biggest challenge you have in building it to 2,000 loan officers?
I love that. And I feel like we're just getting started. I feel like that every morning, So it comes down to culture. I think a lot of the companies that are in the industry now, I'm not going to say fly by night, but they got into it, when times are really good, and they had a pretty good sales gimmick that gets people in and kind of insulates them with a model that allows them not to be producers, but to eat on other people that they bring on that produce. And that's never really been our knack. We love to bring on people that they're professional loan originators, and that's exactly what they are. And that's who we want to attract. And that's why, we pushed across the nation into 34 countries and growing. I want to attract more people that are in different states to our country, to our company. We're based in San Diego. We grew from San Diego, so it's kind of there's a large populace of folks that we have here. We host a conference quarterly. It's called C2 Connect, and it's really an opportunity for loan officers that are with us, loan officers that are looking at us, vendors, lenders, and anybody that that is interested in the industry or can speak to it comes to that event. And it's a great day of collaboration, to learn, to grow, to connect, and really feel the culture of a company, because that's not something that can be manufactured. It's truly authentic. I live it. I breathe it. I feel it every day, and I absolutely love it. And I'm fortunate and blessed to have grown up in an industry that my dad kind of pioneered. And my dad was my greatest mentor. He was my best friend. He's not with us now, but I think about him every day. And it's a great place to be. And I think the way we grow is really finding people that align with that culture. And that's what I've said to my competitors. There's no such thing as friendly competition, but I'm cool with the other guys that own other shops. And I said, hey, some people are going to be attracted to C2 because they align, that's their tribe, or they're going to go to another shop and that's their tribe. And where people are in their lives, in their careers, that can change. And maybe they look at a different shop that, okay, they're going to save $1 or $2 on a file, but they're not going to get what we're giving, or they're going to get something else that is more impactful for them. So for me to grow, we're obviously hyper competitive. We deliver a great platform, great marketing, great branding. And when somebody checks out C2, like they're talking to a borrower and they go, what company do you work for? I've never heard of that company, or I haven't heard of that company. They're going to look at us and they're going to see what we're all about. We're all about the power of ownership, whether it's home ownership, commercial ownership, making sure people can retire in their homes the way they like with reverse mortgages, or they have an opportunity to sell or buy. So it's, I love it. It's a great place to be. I pound my chest on it every day that I believe we are the best. I'm in competition with myself. I don't think about really other people out there. And I'm going to, we're going to take it to the next level. And I think you mentioned something about, what people are, we talked about the individual that was, had a job, then was an Uber driver, but bought a house with a job. And I think one of the reasons that we've expanded in this nation and a difficulty that, say, California will experience is an affordability factor. And that's why I think I talked to your producer. He's out in Nashville. We got licensed in Tennessee because people were moving out of California to Tennessee. It's more affordable. It still has a lifestyle play for them. The weather might not be as good, but they're willing to make a sacrifice. And they want to have a family and they go, wait, I can't get that extra room. I can't get that yard. I can't get that. I'm going to go to a place that I can, that's conducive for my lifestyle, that I can afford. I can feel comfortable. My wife, my husband, my kids are happy. My dog is happy, whatever it is. And I'm going for it. And nowadays with the way we work, I show up in the office every day in Del Mar from Encinitas. I believe in it. I like to show up, I power it out, I get it done, and I go. I'm always available, day and night, because I run a company, and that's just how you have to be. But the way we've evolved in terms of being remote, you can work remote several days a week or full time, whatever that is, allows you a lot of flexibility to find a home, to buy, to move in. It gives you everything you need at a price you can afford.
You have 1,100 people. You don't build that kind of an organization and growing unless the culture works. I want people around me that love our mission, love what we do, love the process. You can make money, in a million ways, but it's not that's not a life. That's a living. And I like telling people, you want to figure out what your life is. What is your life about? What is there a mission statement for C2 Financial?
We have several.
What would it be?
A collaborative community that delivers the power of home ownership.
I love it. And not C2 Financial. What does the average LO earn in the United States on an annual basis?
That's a great question. I spoke to that at our last conference, because even in a down market where a loan officer is doing, let's just say a loan officer is doing a loan a month, and the average commission is around $5,000 or $6,000, they're certainly making more than the medium income earner across the nation. So from that component alone, it's a great career path, regardless of market conditions. An average loan officer delivering, good loans across the nation, I would think is probably going to, on average, going to make about $120,000, $150,000. There's certainly outliers. There's an 80-20 rule or a 90-10 rule, whatever you want to call it, where there's 20% doing 80% of the volume. And then there's the other folks that are just waiting, for something to happen or finding an excuse. There's excuses for everything, and there's opportunity in every market. There's no question about it. And so it's finding that opportunity and hitting and really capitalizing on that and making sure who is in the market at the right time. Because the folks that were in the market and refied in 2020 or 2021 when rates are 2s and 3s, unless something's happening in their life, they're not in the market. And I joked around at another conference we had. I was like, you want to know where the buyers are in this market today? They're at Taylor Swift concerts. If you can afford to buy,
isn't everybody?
Yeah, exactly. If you could buy like a $1,000 or more ticket for a concert, you can afford a mortgage. If you don't own a home and you're buying tickets to a concert, you need to have a closer look in the mirror and go, what are my priorities here? Long term, right now, all of that. So I think it's important to recognize what you want, write down what you want, the power of, psycho-cybernetics. You make a goal, you write it down, and your body and your mind is like a heat-seeking missile to hit it. So, because anytime I'm kind of wavering in terms of where I'm at, it's because I haven't focused on my goals, and it's getting back to that. No,
It's all mindset. It's all in our
yeah,
head.
for sure. For
I have
sure.
an adage that we teach because we train so many salespeople in so many different niches. We teach core philosophies, and one of the core philosophies is not believing somebody can afford what you're selling is an insult. And I think that so many salespeople take that approach. A loan officer sits down with people and immediately, because they've been in the business for a while and maybe they're a little jaded, says that they're never going to qualify. And so rather than saying, you know what, my job is to help them qualify, that's my job, not can they, how do we? I think that sets people apart. And I also believe, and I'll say this across the board, 99% of all realtors don't know how to sell houses. All they know how to do is show houses. And if you go on any kind of a house tour or go to an open house, whatever, there's nothing done to sell. It's, hey, take a look around. Let me know if you have any questions. And then if the buyer has no questions, then that's the end of it all. I was in a sales presentation. Some people were presenting some things to me yesterday. And at the end of it all, they said, well, here's our offer. And I said, okay. And I just looked at them. And they said, well, we'll send you the contract. I said, I never said I was buying. You haven't even asked me, actually. So maybe you might want to check in with me and see, what do I think? And they said, okay, what do you think? And I told them, and I said, here's how you'll close me. And I want
Yeah.
you to close me. I didn't sit in this presentation and waste my time. I want you to close me, but I also want you to close me on an offer that's acceptable to me. And I think, much like I said, the person that we trained to get leads by teaching realtors how to sell more houses, his business exploded. But then he did so well in the training side of things, he actually was surpassing the $1 million a year he was earning as a mortgage guy, and said, I want to also launch a training company. What kind of training does C2 provide to their people? Obviously, C2 Connect. How many people attend that in a quarter?
Each quarter, that's probably about 350 people that show up to that. Plus or minus, we've gotten, maybe a little north of 400 and, a little less than 350. I mean, they've grown, sizably every time. And you mentioned something that I want to hit on. It's even in any sale, even if, I agree. It's don't assume that people can't afford, but in the event when you are looking at real numbers, and even if and we have a lot of resources, we're way different than walking into a bank and a guy, with his, or a gal with their, thumbs up their armpits, trying to figure out, how to say no in, over the course of 2 months. It's not so, we have a lot of different ways to figure out how somebody can qualify. And it might be no at the moment. I'm not opposed to having, hey, it's not now. It's a no, but it's a not now. It's like, and that's an opportunity to deepen a relationship and really help someone grow to prepare for what they want. And I think that is even more powerful than just somebody showing up at your doorstep going, hey, I'm in contract to buy a home. How do you get me this loan? And you go, oh, cool, I can get it done. We're good to go. You know what I mean? I think deepening that relationship and kind of shepherding that process is really how you develop deeper, relationships and a book of business. But I think, what was the question before you asked that? Before I said that?
No, I was just talking about culture, and I was talking about, helping people understand what business we're in. Like the mortgage guy that came to train with me, he thought he was in the business of selling loans. I said, no, you're in the business of helping people who sell houses sell more houses. That's your business. And that's a leap. I'm in the business of producing a result for my clients. I'm not in the business of selling seminars or training programs. When I do what I should be doing, help them succeed, then my business takes care of itself. When C2 Financial says, hey, this isn't a no, this is a not right now because of these things. So let's take care of these things so that we can say yes. We want to say yes. And I thought your analogy of the bank was a classic example, because the bank is not in the business of saying yes to people. They're in the business of saying no. And they're in the business of mitigating risk. They're in the business of making sure there's no opportunity to lose. And again, that's just not life. And if you play, your card, obviously the banks have an advantage that they have unending and unlimited money, unlike the rest of our businesses. They can print money and a couple keystrokes add something to their bottom line. I wish I could do that.
Yeah, and an opportunity is only an opportunity if you can capitalize on it. If you're looking to buy a property and then one comes across your desk, but your ducks aren't in a row to get the financing or have the down payment, then it's not an opportunity for you. So I think having a good communication, having a contact that's at C2, where we have the ability to help, whether you're buying a home, whether you're buying a building to invest in that has tenants, or you're buying a building for your business to grow into, that's certainly something that we can help you with. And that's where, we have that, we built that C2 ecosystem. The biggest choice or biggest financial decision someone's going to make in their life is generally buying a home. And if we can knock it out of the park for them, then they're going to grow from there. And there's going to be a time in their life, hey, you did such a great job helping me buy my home. My business is doing so well. I want to buy a building for me to run whatever my business is out of that. And in the past, where someone says, yeah, I appreciate you reaching out to me, but it's not something I can help with. Well, then they go out and find a yes person, and then they're out of their sphere of influence. And then when they need to refinance their home, that person is the last touch. Well, we have the ability to knock it out of the park for any given financial or real estate need at C2. And that is really a unique offering that we have in this market that I'm pretty proud of, because I think not only home ownership, but developing passive income through owning commercial buildings, owning more homes, owning properties where they're in great locations that have a need, where people have a need for that space, can really allow you to free up a lot of time and enjoyment in your life. So that's a pretty powerful thing to do as well.
What percentage of your business is doing loans for homeowners versus real estate investors of any kind, commercial, residential?
It's a smaller percentage. I mean, by and large, we're predominantly an owner-occupied residential mortgage brokerage house. Certainly, a lot of residential investor deals, and then a portion of commercial. But we do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions, up to billions of dollars of loan volume a month, and it would be I would say around sub 10% is going to be investor or certainly commercial real estate, because that division is in the earlier stages of development. We've got a handful of commercial loan officers in that space, but we have very, very deep relationships with lenders across the nation for just like we would on the forward side for whatever the need is for that business owner or that investor. So, but it is a smaller percentage. I mean, generally you look around, and sure, there's certainly a lot of buildings but a lot of the buildings are mainly institutionally owned, and we're kind of in that private client space where the mom and pop investor that's getting to build a portfolio, we want to shepherd that, and that's really our clientele.
I love the admiration and affection you projected toward your dad. I love that. My own father and I didn't have a relationship. I have 3 kids, and it is by far the best time of my life. And I am just very excited to be able to give them the kind of experience that I didn't have. Tell me, what are the top 3 qualities that your dad, Ron, taught you, and how did they serve you?
I spoke at my dad's celebration of life, and I had one word to describe him, and that was success. And I'm not going to get emotional about this, but he had the ability.
Please cry. It's my ratings. Go ahead.
Well, struggling on heartstrings here. There's trade-offs in life, and a lot of times, and you're dealing with entrepreneurs and very successful individuals, and those people have certainly made sacrifices to get to where they're at. And I think those sacrifices fall under 3 buckets. There's business, there's family, and then there's friends. And you got to fill those buckets, with water. You got to water those buckets every day. And if you're filling the bucket with your business to focus on your business more, well, then it's going to have an impact on your family or your friends. Or you're with your friends and you're a great friend, but you're not a good family person, and you're not a good business person. Or you're with your family so much, you could be a great dad. But if you're not making money, well, then how are you going to provide for them? Or you're going to be so I think that vision of success for me, or that what I learned from my father was was being able to balance all of that and making time for all of it. I remember I was 18 years old and I was out looking at colleges, and you'll do this with your son or your daughter. I know you said they're 12 and you got a few years to go, but you'll be looking at colleges in 6 years or so. And I'll never forget the time I was looking at them, I'm like, Dad, you've achieved my vision of success. You met a beautiful woman, you created a family, you were entrepreneurial and started a successful business that gave you the time and the money, and you had the friends to enjoy it all. And that's what it's all about to me. I've certainly had some successes and not been afraid of failures. I've certainly had some failures in my life that I've learned a lot from. And I think that's okay. That's what makes us dynamic in who we are. And we get up and we push forward every day, and we take those experiences, good or bad, and we move forward, and we add value. And that's really what I would say. Have passion for what you do. I think that college speech where it's like, find what you love. Well, find what pays too. And what you find will pay will evolve into something you love. Because when you start making money at something you enjoy, you can really develop passion for it. And you'll find some silver linings in things that may otherwise seem to be paper pushing to some people. But like I said, that picture of my best friend in the front of his house, with his wife and his kid and his dog, that's my heart. And that's what it's all about. And that took time to get to. It took time for me to get to that place to go, that's what this is all about. It's not just, figuring out how to push paper and get a loan done. It's about getting the right people to be part of our company that align with our vision, our values, and the experience that we want to deliver, and how we can keep BlackRock and Vanguard out of home ownership.
I like that idea, man. I like that idea a lot. So it sounded to me like what you were talking about was balance. That it doesn't do you any good to have imbalance, great relationship, no money, all the money in the world, no great relationship. And Lord knows I learned that the hard way. I was married twice before I met my one true wife, and I had to ask myself, what's really important to you? And for me, what's important to me is that balance. I'm okay. I love what I do. I love this. I love, I've been a performer. I've been on stage my entire life. I've been training people for 40 years. I love this. This is my life. But I love my wife. She's the best decision I ever made. She's calm, no drama. Which is exactly what I needed because I'm so intense. And then my children, they're not allowed to do drama. So the whole idea of that balance thing is, I think, what a lot of entrepreneurs don't. I interviewed somebody the other day. We haven't even aired the interview, and he's in the insurance business, specifically Medicare type of policies. And he just sold 51% of his company for $35 million cash. So he still owns 49%. He's 36 years old. Busted his butt for 8 years to be able to cash out for that $35 million. It's remarkable. And he and I were talking, and I said, if I could wave a magic wand over you and help that remaining 49% become worth 3, 4, 5 times what it is right now, what would I do for your company? And he said, do you have 50 agents or 100 agents a month you can hand to me that I can train? And I said, really, would that be it? And so it goes back full circle again to that idea that velocity of money, the speed and frequency in which it changes hands, is the basis of any economy. He said, you give me 100 a month, 80 of those won't work out. 80 of those will quit after a week or two. They're gone. 10 of those will be mediocre, and they'll just do okay. 5 of those will be really, really good, and I'll consider them exceptional. He said, but 2 out of those 100 will be absolute rock stars. And 2 out of those 100 is all I need to explode this business. Do you have rock stars?
We absolutely have rock stars. And what that sounds like to me is it really comes down to the right people. And if you have the right people, you can achieve anything. And we have the right people from a corporate standpoint. We have the right people from an originator standpoint, and we're attracting the right people. And sure, it could be a numbers game. You could, it's a head count. But it's really the right people. And that's exactly what it sounded like he said to you. It's like, if you give me 50 of the right people, I'll be on a rocket. I'll be on SpaceX. It'll be to the next level. And I think that it's an important component is, that I appreciate, in these conversations, and I'm sure that you had with him, is a function of curiosity. If you have somebody that's curious, for anything that you're doing, for what they're doing, if you constantly have, curiosity in how you can help people and how you can learn and how you can connect, you're going to you're going to grow and you're going to find success.
I'm often asked, what's the number one quality, skill set somebody can have to be successful in business and making money? And there's zero doubt in my mind, learn how to sell, learn how to
Yeah.
persuade, because then you get to pick. And so, ultimately, no matter what I do as a sales trainer or a hypnotist or a leader or a speaker, or even as an entertainer, having headlined on the main stage of many casinos in Vegas, it's still all about sales. It's all about, did I sell them? Did I close them? And the expression, did I GTFM? Did I get the freaking money? And
I was wondering what that was.
yeah, did I get the freaking money? And and sometimes people think that's crass. And my own opinion is, know thyself. Know what business you're in. And if you pretend, the worst thing that I hear people say, like if I ask a loan officer, what business are you in? Oh, I help people with home ownership. Yeah, it sounds great, but that's not really what business you're in. You're in the business of getting people loans. So yes, they can own a home, but that's the business you're in, is getting the loan and getting them to sign with you rather than the firm that's up the street. What are the things that make C2 Financial unique in the marketplace, and how you've been able to grow it at an astounding rate to such a, an amazing success that you've had? What makes you unique?
Well, something that jumps out to me, and is trust. You can trust the fact we're the longest standing mortgage broker in the nation. C2 got started in 2007. We really launched it and made it big and grew it from 2009. So we're not a fly-by-night shop. You know exactly what you're going to get. You know the people you're working with, and it's a family business. We treat it like a family. My sister is my chief marketing officer. I joke around. My mom is the C2 mom. She's our like a chairwoman, and it's what you get. I mean, we are unique. We are a family, and we fight for each other. We always have each other's backs, and I think that is unique. It isn't just a numbers game. It's not just about, how to make the biggest commission on a sale. It's about delivering the right experience. And I think that C2 is the powerhouse behind getting the nation to know that the loan that is best suited for them is achieved through a broker and not through a banker. And I think, the world that we live in, if there was 5 big banks that controlled everything, it would be a tough place to be. And that's not what we want. And that I'm an advocate to be against that. I'm an advocate for the broker. I'm an advocate for the free market. We believe in the free market. And that's constantly what we're going to deliver here. Is you come here, you find your level of success, whatever that level of success may be. We're here to support you to whatever degree you need, whether it's connecting you with a mentor, whether it's connecting you with the right lender, whether it's giving you the tools, the tips, the tricks, whatever it might be to be better, a better you, a better husband, a better wife, a better business person, a better loan officer, and a better partner. And nowadays it's partnering with the right people. Realtors are certainly a referral source, but attorneys and CPAs and all that. I want everybody to know that if they're working with C2, a loan officer at C2, then you're working with a Navy SEAL. You're calling in for the right people to get the job done. They're here to clean up the mess. And no matter how many people you work with to get there, when you work with somebody at C2, that's the right place to be.
I love it. And you just said something very profound, that if somebody is seeking funding to purchase their home, they should be dealing with a broker, not a bank. And I don't think a lot of people understand that idea. I think most people, certainly it would be an inclination of mine, and I'd like to think I'm fairly average, that I think about refinancing my home or even buying a new property. The first thing I think is, who do I bank with? Who's the current company holding my mortgage? And without naming any names, the company, the bank that holds the mortgage on my main property in Vegas, a few years ago, I wanted to refinance. And I asked them to, send me the payoff on the house, and they sent me a letter with a dollar amount. And I said, thank you so much, but could I see how you got to that dollar amount? And they sent me a letter that was a little bit longer. And I said, thank you so much. I'm not sure what's going on crazy there on the screen. Must be the kinetic energy between us, David.
I love it.
Yeah, that was a little bit frenetic. So at any rate, they sent me a longer letter that said, here's how we came to it. I said, I would like my loan file, please. And they said, "Oh no, we can't send you your loan file. That's proprietary information." I said, "I know. That's why
It's
it's my
my
loan file.
information.
Yeah, it's proprietary to me." And they said, "Oh,
Right.
you won't understand anything." I said, "Why don't you try me anyway?"
Yeah.
It took 2 years, and this is one of the 3 major banks. It took 2 years for them to give me my loan file. I had to hire attorneys, and then once we got the file, I had to hire forensic people to go in and take a look at the loan. Turns out they'd overcharged me almost $200,000 on the loan just
Yeah.
by the creative way they did all sorts of things during the life of the loan. And again, I had nobody at the bank going to battle for me. And I think that that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand, why a mortgage broker is such a valuable asset, whether you're a home buyer buying something for yourself, or especially, I tell my real estate investors, create an intimate relationship with your funding sources. Make sure that they're your best friends, because not only, you said we don't just wait for the realtors to have a home. We create relationships with attorneys and accountants and all these people that are dealing with, hell, you should have a great relationship with Taylor Swift from the plug that you gave her.
I
But
think
I would
Kelsey's
agree
got
that
that.
that is something that we call non-traditional revenue. That's sources that aren't, top of mind sources for what our business is. Where are some of your best non-traditional lead sources that aren't realtors? You mentioned you mentioned attorneys. You mentioned CPAs. Anything else?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, there's certainly, I mean, business can come from all places. I mean, it can come, it's a network, and that's a function of, you knowing your tribe, and whether you got a kid in T-ball practice and you got, whatever it says C2 Financial in the back of the outfield, or whatever people it is, people that it's, your referral sources come naturally, and it's not so much you promoting yourself. It's going, I'm so busy right now. Oh my gosh. And they go, well, what do you do? Like, well, I'm a loan officer, and it's like, oh, well, we can look into some, and then things happen naturally. So sure, you want to make sure you hit your centers of influence, your COIs, and you also want to expand your network and just be, natural with it, own your place. And you mentioned something, I want to hit the banking thing again. Understand that if you walk into your bank where you have your checking or savings account and they say no, you have to understand where people's fiduciary responsibility is. The fiduciary responsibility to a banker is to the shareholders. A fiduciary responsibility from a broker is to you as a client. It's, we are not beholden to a bank or to a shareholder. This is not we have great partners that support us. That we actually had an event where we brought our loan officers and their realtor partners out to Michigan to meet with one of our strong partners, that to debunk these ideas of, oh, well, I need to work with a banker because they're going to have more control. They're going to be able to walk down the office and meet with their underwriter, or meet with whoever it is that is the decision maker, their credit officer. We have more capabilities and more speed than any banker out there as a broker. We have so much control from the process from start to finish than anybody than you can imagine. And I think that stigma around that is a message that I'm hammering home, that we have the ability to get that done and grow the network and grow the message. And ultimately, when borrowers are looking for a loan, looking to consolidate debt, looking to buy, or looking to sell, that they're working with a broker at C2 Financial.
We are seeing right now in the current climate, with as crazy as the past 3 years have been, we are seeing a lot of things. We're seeing a lot of relationship trauma and drama, a lot of divorces, a lot of people that are, stuck with bills they never thought they would have, paying, spousal support or child support or all those payments like crazy. Are you seeing inside, obviously real estate's in an interesting place, rates being what they are. You mentioned something about inventory and a limited amount of inventory right now. What are you seeing are the great opportunities for both investors and for people that maybe, you mentioned you mentioned my producer is back in Tennessee, which he is. We looked at Tennessee, when everything shut down in the fall of 2020, I was definitely looking at a riverfront property in Tennessee or maybe South Dakota or someplace that had a little more sanity than we have in California. Because while I love the beach and I love the surf just like you do, I
Mhm.
also am not fond of California politics nor California taxes, frankly. So what are you seeing as far as trends go? Are you seeing a lot of newly single people saying, "Hey, I'm trying to get a loan and my spouse destroyed my credit. What can I do? And how do I do all this?" Or what are you seeing are, predominant trends right now?
The trend I see is affordability. Certainly, I went through a divorce. It was amicable, and there was a friend of mine that was there for me that let me crash at his house. Said the first month's free, and we'll figure it out from there. I have a back house. I'm renovating a house right now, and the front house isn't done, but the back house, I'm living in the ADU. And once I get out of that ADU and I'm in the front house, it'll certainly be a way to pay it forward if somebody needs a place to crash. I've actually had already a bunch of people knocking on my door, but I have some close friends that might be going through some things, and I'm always here to support them. But and then that could be a position for them to get back on their feet. And yeah, once that dust settles, they've gone through that mental minutia of going through a breakup with the government involved, is what I call it. Getting married is, a long-term relationship with the government involved, and is a little bit more involved in breaking it up. And I'm all for the institution of marriage. I came from a family where my parents were married, and I too will, go down that path at some point if it's the right person and the right time. But I think it's an affordability component. If you can afford to do something and it's the right place and the right time, then execute. I bought a fourplex in Los Angeles because all I needed was a one-bedroom apartment, and my rent was about the same of what I would make or what I would spend after all the income and the mortgage was paid on the fourplex. So it made sense at the time. I think it's important to push it, but don't stretch to the point of breaking, because things can happen in your life. And I think one thing my dad taught me, it's always good to have at least 1 year of savings for your cost of living. It gives you a lot of cushion, allows you to be entrepreneurial. If you lose your job, well, you're not scrambling to take something you don't want because you do have something saved. You do have the ability to bob and weave and find where you want to go. And that's hard to do, especially as you get older and you have, all these responsibilities. So that's something I would recommend. I think, keep your eyes and ears open. I mean, that's another way, not only for being involved with a residential or commercial mortgage broker, but have your realtor partners on the residential side, have your commercial brokers on the commercial side. And there's a very savvy folks out there. If you're interested in somebody that you need to get connected with, I was from that space. I worked at Marcus and Millichap. I worked at Voight Real Estate Services. I've got friends at Cushman Wakefield. I got friends at all CBRE, all these shops across the nation, around the globe. And depending on whatever you're looking at, whether it's apartments, so multifamily, office, industrial, retail, triple net, stuff like that, there's stuff that meets the needs or where you're at in an investment period. Hey, I'm willing to take the time to own an apartment building, to make the improvements, to get the rents up, to hold that. Or, hey, I've owned that stuff. I don't like the management. I'm looking for triple net lease, mailbox type money. I mean, there's people that specialize in all that stuff. And I think having the right people in your corner that specialize in exactly what you're looking for is going to put you at an advantage and allow you to grow your portfolio, to grow your net worth, and to grow your income stream the way you want.
We're about to wrap up. Before we do, I like to get to know people on an individual basis a little bit. You're a good looking guy. You carry yourself well. Clearly, you're highly successful. When I met my wife, I was rolling in the dough, and there was a little bit of doubt in my mind. Would this beautiful woman, 24 years younger than me, even consider me if I wasn't a multimillionaire? How hard is that as a single man? Because you brought it up. How hard has it been? And I don't care to know, what your personal life is right now, but how much of that is on your mind when you meet somebody and you say, hey, yeah, I know I'm good looking. I know I'm charming. I know I'm fun. But if I was broke, would you still like me?
Yeah, that's a great question, especially now with how much social platforms are out there, online dating, what have you. I'm single. I've met some amazing women in my life. Was married to one that, we grew apart. I think it is more difficult with how social media promotes flashy cars, flashy things, all these things, and how expensive things are, and how, I had a conversation. It wasn't, a woman I was dating. I just had a conversation with a gal the other day talking about how, how to buy a home. And she said, I don't know how I would be able to buy a home unless I married somebody that had the money or already had it. And I was like, that's interesting. I thought that was a unique comment. But I think that sure, that's one way of doing it. I think there's a lot of successful women out there, and gender is, I don't know what the politics around that are anymore, but certainly people have equal means of making money, color, race, whatever. I look for, authentic, genuine, naturally beautiful women to me. That's just what I'm interested in. I'm looking, and I'm still in the hunt. And I was going to ask you actually, I would say I would think you're probably pretty well, the ladies being the number one hypnotist in the world. I mean, how can you not be? Walk into a bar and just, I got to hear more about that.
You're joking about it, but that's how I met my wife.
I wouldn't doubt it.
No, there were 1,000 people at a seminar I was conducting in Boston, and I came up the center aisle, and 4 rows back on the center aisle was this beautiful young woman, and I was absolutely smitten with her. And without her knowing it or the rest of the room knowing it, while I was teaching, I hypnotized her to walk up to me and ask me out on a date.
I love that. Yeah, you're going to teach me that trick.
I would love to. You teach me the mortgage business. I'll teach you all about subconscious persuasion.
Absolutely.
And then the last thing I want to ask you, and this is purely personal. I everybody wears things that have meaning to them. You have a necklace on. What's the meaning in that necklace?
My sister's got this necklace for me for my 40th birthday.
I love
it.
And
it's a stone that they like, that they thought resonated to me. It's got 2 sides, so I could switch it up. But they it's a strong stone that I can't pronounce the name of, so I won't butcher it. But it's it matches my convictions. And yeah, actually, there was something that I wanted to do before we get off the phone, and I'm sure you've heard this one before, but I figured I heard the lead up track and the music that goes to this. I was like, we got to play this song. Can you hear
it? In the house, baby.
Hypnotize.
Yeah. Thank you, Biggie.
I was thinking about that last night. I'm like, how are we going to do this?
Yeah. Thank you, Biggie Smalls. Absolutely. Hey, you're awesome, man. How do people get a hold of you or C2 Financial if they have any kind of funding needs?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm pretty approachable, and that's something we pride ourselves on at our company. My handle is just my name, David Temko, David spelled normally, and Temko without a P on Instagram. My C2 Financial handle is c2financialcorp.com. You can always look at our website at www.c2financial.com. If you have any questions, there's certainly a lot to learn there. And then hit me up. You can DM me. I'm more than happy to put you in touch with the best loan officer at C2, wherever you are looking to facilitate whatever those needs may be. So welcome any opportunity.
For all of my mortgage and loan officer friends that might be interested in also being a part of what you do, where do you usually hold your C2 Connect events? Typically
in San Diego, we do them at the Hard Rock Hotel. Our next event is slated for October 1st. If you're interested in that, please reach out to me. There's info at c2financial.com. There's join at c2financial.com. So there's all that. And I would absolutely love for anybody listening to join and see our company, to feel our culture, to meet me, shake their hand, have a drink, whatever it is, whatever we can do to connect. I'm here for it. I'm very curious, and I just love the opportunity to meet new people.
I love it. October 1st was my mother's birthday, so that's a very special day to me. C2 Connect, is that a multi-day event, one-day event?
We do it's a main day event, which is mainly Ford mortgage specific. We do a day of reverse because our reverse platform has grown exponentially. We have more certified reverse mortgage professionals than any shop in the nation. So we've attracted some amazing talent, and they deliver some great messaging. So we'll do a day of reverse a lot of times after that. That might be combined with there's actually another big conference that's reverse centric. So we get pretty creative with it. We have there's fun themes, there's games, there's speakers. Rene Rodriguez spoke at the last one. He's an awesome guy, did a great job. And it was a March Madness theme. We'll always come up with something fun. We'll make it worth your while. You're going to walk away with at least a couple ideas to get back to your desk to sit down with and go, that was great. I'm going to put that to work and I'm going to see how it works out. And generally you'll make more business and more money.
Well, you are fascinating. And I look forward to us connecting since we're both down here in Southern California. I appreciate you taking the time out of your extremely busy day to be on the show. Nice to meet you. God bless. And I'll chat with you soon.
It was my pleasure, Marshall. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, David. I appreciate it. Yeah, we have the best guests, don't we? Hey, guess what? Now it's your time. I'm going to start taking your calls. StudioMoney.info/live guests. And we want to get you on the air. So get on the air. You could win 10 ounces of pure Marshall silver. You could also win $5,000 cash. I gave extreme clues today. So why don't you figure it out? In the meantime, we got to head over to the vault where I can talk about sex, money, power, and all the things that will get me banned on any other platform. So if you would like to have a better life, maybe win some cash or pure silver, stick around. We're going to show you a couple of quick videos, and then I'll meet you in the vault.
Turning point. A total change in direction for the better.
Who here is ready for a turning point? You absolutely have to have one. Put them high.
The 2-day Turning Point seminar is different than any other program in that it does more than just teach you the skills for your relationships, wealth, and power. It also programs you on a subconscious level to put those skills into immediate use.
This weekend is about empowerment. This weekend is about you understanding how to take charge of your own life.
You will learn total control of your thoughts and emotions. How to use PND, or psychoneural duplication, to take on the thoughts and actions of others to produce similar results. Whether it's losing weight, changing habits, being a millionaire.
When you think what a millionaire thinks and you do what a millionaire does, you'll produce similar results.
You will learn to program these powerful tools at a subconscious level for immediate and lasting results.
Your conscious mind is what's called your critical factor. It's the mind you're using right now to determine whether the information I'm giving to you will work for you or not. Your subconscious mind, on the other hand, is merely a computer. It's non-critical. It doesn't even have the ability to make judgment. So all trance, hypnosis, reprogramming is setting aside the critical factor of your conscious mind and non-critically accepting suggestions.
And empowering.
To make a fear vanish, you must experience it fully.
As it helps you create your life exactly the way you want it. Bring your family closer. Find the love of your life. Create strategies for wealth. Learn irresistible influence and so much more. Because of the intimate nature of this course, seats are very limited. Register now before your life passes you by and there are no more turning points for you. Tens of thousands of people have learned this information and are using it daily.
You don't get angry if you get fired from your job and you know that within 2 years you will be a multi-millionaire.
It's your time.
There's a way for you to win this game that is different than how you're doing it, and it works.
It's your life.
When you learn how to do that, you become more powerful, and power is for use.
It's your turning point.
Isn't it time for your first million? Wouldn't it be wonderful to be able to do what you love and learn how to monetize that on a 7-figure level? Do you want to know exactly what you need to do and what not to do to have your biggest year ever? If not now, when? First Million. A 2-day subconscious learning experience that both teaches and programs you with the personality traits and habits of multimillionaires. At First Million, you'll learn how to take almost any wealth vehicle to a 7-figure level or better. You'll learn how to stop using vehicles that don't work, are too difficult, or simply unsuited for you. Making money is supposed to be fun. Stop living your life getting ready to live your life and start living a life of adventure. First Million was crafted to not just change what you do, it's also going to change who you are. Instead of trying to become a millionaire, you'll learn that you're already a millionaire, even if the money has not yet been deposited in your bank account. Beyond mindsets, you'll learn the actual personality traits of multimillionaires, so you'll naturally do what millionaires do to produce a similar result. One of the key personality traits of a millionaire is charisma. Imagine being able to walk into a room and without speaking a word, have the entire room drawn to you. Imagine others hanging on your every word, wanting to be near you, to be in business with you, and hungry to buy whatever you're selling. First Million will teach you how to use the charisma that politicians, entertainers, CEOs, and celebrities use to move nations and make millions. You'll also learn how to get more done in less time. You'll learn priority management and what the highest and best use of your time is. You'll learn laser-like focus upon IGAs, or income-generating activities, and you'll learn to let go of anything below your pay grade. What if you had more customers than you ever imagined? What if they came right to you and fought to buy from you? At First Million, you'll learn attraction marketing and strategies to get others to pay you for your marketing and advertising before they even purchase your offer. When you attend your First Million, you'll begin to see an overwhelming amount of amazing opportunities all around you. You'll look through the matrix and easily identify target-rich environments. You'll learn dovetailing and stacking strategies to acquire more customers and do more business with the customers you already have. Unless something is sold, no money is made. Whether you're a sales pro, a novice, or even scared to death of selling something, your First Million is going to have you fall in love with influence and enjoy it as the game that it is. When you believe in what you're selling, you're obligated to sell it. You'll learn exact language patterns of influence and persuasion. You'll learn how to get others to ask you for what you're selling and have them believe it was their idea. You'll become dynamically able to use arcing statements, direct links, embedded commands, and so much more. An entire tool belt of selling gambits will be yours after you get to your First Million. As a First Million alumni, you will be clear on what you need to do to GTFM, or get the freaking money. You deserve great wealth, and your First Million will help to raise your self-esteem around the topic of money. The amount of money you make will always be determined by your own self-image. You'll learn what billion-dollar corporations already know about outsourcing, how to get anything below your pay grade done for pennies on the dollar. Your First Million will give you the groundwork to understand presentation skills and the highest paid profession on the planet, public speaking. When you graduate from your First Million, you'll be able to create presentations that inspire with confidence and power. If all that weren't enough, there's so much more. Making your First Million is almost certainly going to require that you manage at least a small team. You'll walk out of the course with the knowledge of how to lead teams and synergistically get more done in less time. Technology has made our lives so much easier as we've learned how to harness it. The First Million course will teach you what is up to date and available in technology so that you can use that cutting-edge technology to get more done and have more fun. You'll also learn how to harness the power of the internet for massive, passive profits. Every time you attend your First Million, you'll learn new technology and internet marketing strategies, as these two portions of the class change every time you attend. It's like getting a brand new seminar each time you come. If you're a representative, you may attend your First Million as often as you like, totally free, with your enrollment in the First Million course. If you're not yet a rep, or if you have not yet invested in your First Million, enroll now. Everything begins in 5. And you know what you want to say. Go ahead, say it now. Say it out loud. I'm ready for my First Million.
$5,000. Yeah, we give away cash here. If you don't know me, you're brand new to the show. This is my second run on a daily broadcast. Back in 2013, I found myself with two babies and I wanted to spend more time with my sons. So I launched a broadcast in 2013 before anybody even knew what a podcast was. And during that show, we did some very similar things to what we're doing here now. We didn't give away silver guaranteed every single day like we do now. We did, though, give away $350,000, $1,000 at a time. And the power of that is we changed a whole lot of lives. So I'm seeking to change lives right now to get your life changed, potentially win some silver, maybe some cash. All you got to do, go to studiomoney.info/live guests. We'll get you on the air just like we're getting Wendy on the air right now to chat with me live. Hello there.
Hey, Marshall. I didn't even have a question. Your production crew is just amazing. They said that they're working on a new system now, and I get to be the guinea pig. So yay! Awesome. That guy. So David Temko was great. I do.
David was awesome.
Yes.
And obviously I know you because you're a real estate investor.
Yes.
You are a previous winner of 10 ounces of pure silver.
Yeah.
You are a part of my inner circle program. So yeah, you're favored here. What's your question? What is the question you didn't have?
Well, the question I didn't have is one actually that would be for David, but maybe you know. He said he is in 34 states. So would it be possible to find out what states that he is in? Because the wheels are turning here, personally, and for all these women that are like, I need a lender. So, in his investor side of the company, it seems like it's definitely in the growing stage. So I was just thinking of this could be a huge potential win-win.
I agree.
Yeah. So
yeah, I agree, and that's the reason we have guests like him on the show is that I know my audience, you and people like you, are going to be able to utilize their offerings and their product and their services to the extent that you will. Yeah, go to c2financial.com.
Okay.
I know you were asking about HELOCs and you were asking about some other things, but
Right.
yeah, definitely. I'm not the expert on that, of course. And I like getting you guys excited about what's going on there. When you do reach out, we have no financial relationship. This is not an affiliate referral. This is strictly a friendly referral. Let them know that I sent you, and I
Sure.
guarantee you they'll take really good care of you there.
Absolutely. I love it.
So
Yeah.
since we chatted, I gave you some advice the last time we chatted.
You did.
And how did that turn out?
It turned out-
And may I share the advice I gave you?
Absolutely. Yes.
So you had asked me, to my recollection, you had asked me, I've got this opportunity. The company I'm working with wants me to move from where I am, and I'm happy to Houston, I believe was the city.
Yes.
And you said, I really don't want to move to Houston. They're telling me that if I don't move to Houston, they're going to cut me off. And anytime somebody gives me an ultimatum, it's an immediate red flag. It tells me they're desperate.
Yes.
And if they're throwing up a red flag for me in one area, it's a red flag in all areas. So that is what we had chatted about. My understanding is you decided not to move. You said no. How'd that turn out?
Actually, I ended up deciding to say yes, but that red flag was coming from a particular individual and not the stuff that had been said to me was coming from one person who I did a lot of due diligence. I did asking some questions. I had roughly 2-hour conversations with the founder of the company. And the first thing I said is, hey, Odell, I have some serious questions for you. And I'm just giving you a fair warning. You might find them offensive, but I need to know, exactly what is going on here. And so I asked him those questions very directly. And before I even asked them, the first thing that he said to me, which to me was a big deal, is that he said, you can ask me anything. I'm not going to be offended. I'm not going to be upset. And he was not. And in fact, the way he answered them was from a place of integrity. And I really appreciated that. It was a huge deal. And it really helped me change my mind. And one of the other factors that did weigh heavily into my decision is not only my own personal gain that was on the line here. I mean, we're talking about So just a, a little bit of background, I had been brought in. They were telling me I was this superstar salesperson. I do not have a background in sales. And so
Which,
I
by the way, often
was
makes
like,
for a superstar salesperson.
well, it was crazy, right? And so I did. I sold about $1.5 billion worth of round one of new build multifamily real estate that's going to be started in Texas and go into 70 other US markets. So I already get the first round of commissions, which is 10 million.
There you
However,
go.
if I didn't stay, the other commissions, years 2 through 5, are on the future sales that I am attached to, but I would not get those if I left the company. We're talking $150 million. How could I, leave that? And Chris said something very interesting to me yesterday, which is what I had texted you, by the way, about the flow of money. And right now we are very much in a prosperity place, not just with money, but everything. And we spent a lot of time and money investing in ourselves over the last couple of years. And when we did that, that's when things started to change drastically. And now we sit in this place very purposely of gratitude. And I mean, we dealt with some horrible stuff with his ex-wife the last couple of years. And I mean, some crazy stuff, and her lawyers. And while
That's a little bit redundant.
yeah, right. And living in this house hack with no bathroom for 2 months a year ago, so we've had some challenges, but
Yeah, that's a long time to hold it.
it is, right? But we came at things from a place of happiness is a decision and a choice. And when people sit around and say, I'll be happy when, or I'll be happy if, they'll never be happy. And so that went into making that decision too. And I have friends in Houston. My son, when he graduates college, is going to move heaven and earth to get back to Houston. And so it's like there were a lot of other things that were going on. And then we're like, well, why don't we just put it out there to, God and the universe? We want a plane this time in a year so that we can go back and forth to Colorado or wherever the heck we want. Because Chris's son lives in Vegas. So, we have reasons to go to Vegas too, other than you. So it's
I
just,
like it.
yeah. So there was
Good. Well, I'm glad you
yeah.
look lighter. You look happier.
Oh my God. I feel
Don't
like
call me that. Call me JC. We're friends.
as soon as I made the decision, I felt at peace. I felt happy. It felt light. I feel like about 20 elephants got lifted off of my chest. And when that feeling came to me, I knew it was the right decision. Had I said yes and still this heaviness and all this other nasty was still there, I probably would have questioned my sanity. But yeah, so yay.
I'm glad. And you, Wendy, are the epitome of the reason I'm doing this show without pay.
Yay.
You and the victory that we're able to create together. If I can give you peace of mind, make you a little more clear-minded, I'm so glad you went back and went beyond the person that was giving you grief that might have had some kind of an agenda or frankly just a power play, just wanting to prove that they had power over you. That's not fun. That's never fun. And sometimes all it takes is a real conversation with somebody that is actually empathetic, somebody that says, hey, I get it. We're asking a lot from you. We're asking you to tear up your roots there in Colorado, move all the way to Texas. And yeah, well, whatever. But, just the fact that somebody would say, what are your concerns? And how can we take a look at those concerns and make it a really good experience? That's night and day. That's the difference.
And he did give me a concession too. I said, if you really want me there, I cannot come until the end of July because that is when I will be able to buy the house that I want that gives me a 15-minute commute instead of an hour and a half. I said, that's the deal breaker. He said, done. I'm like, okay, there we go.
There you go. You have no idea how happy I am. You are the highlight of my day so far.
Yay. Awesome.
Well, good job. Way to go. Congratulations. I'm excited. I know we've got your inner circle coming up very soon. I'm very excited to see you and Chris here, not here, but in Vegas. And life is very good. So thanks for calling in.
Yeah. Can I guess the word?
You could.
Probably way off base. Obsidian.
Yeah. That's a word I don't even know what it is. I guarantee you that's not the secret word.
I'm a geologist, so.
Yeah, that's good. But no, that's not the word because I've never uttered that word in my life. So no, that's cool. But close.
Awesome.
You're loved. Give a hug to your hubby, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Life is good. Amazing people that call into this show. Hey, by the way, sometimes we get people that want to ask me questions, and for whatever reason, they don't want their face to show. And today is actually the first call we're taking without putting the person live on the air, in their face at least. They're going to be live on the air audibly. So our next guest, let's see who we got in the roster. Alita, welcome home. You're on Marshall Silver Live.
Hi, Marshall. Thank you. I just wanted to. I missed part of the beginning, but I was glad to hop on because I did have a question. My husband had recently passed, and I wanted to know if it makes sense to take out a like a home equity line of credit. I'm not in a position right now where I need it, but I'm wondering if there's value in having that secured before there is a need.
Yes. The short answer is absolutely yes. It's,
Okay.
in fact, it was Richard Branson that told me you can never borrow money when you need it.
Okay.
You can only borrow money when you don't need it. He said, so you want to put your credit lines in place before you need them. So I'm not a professional. I'm an individual, and I would completely say to you, absolutely get those credit lines in place. How much equity do you have in your property right now?
Right now, I've got 80,000.
And what is the retail value of the house?
340.
340. So you owe about what is that?
I
Two
think
260?
I owe, I think, around maybe 230, and I think that's what it is.
Got
But
it.
I know that I could probably get around 70 or 80
Sure.
as
Yeah,
part of
so
what
so
was available.
certainly there's zero harm if you don't take the loan. I'm guessing um there's plenty of places to go to that if you don't take the loan, there's no cost. But if it were me, I would most definitely take a look at
Okay.
what revenue streams I had, particularly as you're going through this transition time. And by the way, sorry about your husband.
Thank you.
Um, I love my wife very much. I'm 24 years older than her. And so one of the things that we had to have were some uncomfortable conversations about the idea that one day she's likely not to have me here.
Right.
And so both of us, myself especially, I want to plan ahead and make sure that she's protected and that her and the children are provided for.
Hmm.
So tell me beyond the home equity loan, tell me a little bit more about you. How did you find out about me?
Well, I have followed you somewhat across the years, and because as a side note too, my husband was 23 years older than me. We were together for 44 years, so that was a really long time,
That's
and
beautiful.
was grateful for that. But I'm looking for something. I still want to work. I want to work remotely. I want to, by the grace of God, I'm in a good position, but I enjoy working. I enjoy making those connections. I've been in sales for, gosh, 40 years.
I love it.
And
What have you sold?
oh gosh, I've done worked with higher ed doing software programs. I've done insurance. Um, I've done,
Yeah, I was about to suggest insurance or loans to you right off the bat.
really?
Both,
Okay.
yeah, both things that you can do remotely. The
Okay.
wonderful thing, as you know, because you've been involved in the industry, the wonderful thing about insurance is that you're building an annuity
Okay.
and you're building income that you can receive year after year after year after year after you've done the work and put the policies in place. And so I have a lot of people inside the insurance industry that we've trained, a lot of people that are close friends of mine. I like the business for so many reasons.
Okay.
And yeah, if it were me and I had the experience that you had right now, I would definitely take a look at that. Have you been to Turning Point before?
I have not.
You
No.
got two free tickets from me to
Ah,
come join
thank
to
you.
come join me in Las Vegas. Uh,
Okay.
it's a great time for you, regardless of whether or not you were looking to reinvent yourself. A great time for you to come and get some peace of mind and maybe expand your network and your community and hang out
Okay.
with like-minded people that'll show you lots of love and lots of sensitivity and lots of opportunity to, to celebrate this portion of your
Yeah.
life. You know, my
Yeah.
my biggest desire for my wife is that she would look at this period of our time together and just say, yeah, it was the best time of my life, but even more so that she would be incredibly happy after I'm gone, that she would just say, thank, like
Yeah.
you just did. You know, we
Yeah.
had 40 plus glorious years together. Thank you,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
And you know, you said thankfully I don't have to work, but I like to work. Again, your hubby loved you. That's why he set you up this way.
He did indeed. And we had those conversations. So, yes, it was as hard as it was. It was, I was blessed in a mighty way. And so I do feel, prepared to move forward and I have a strong support system with my family. And so to come someplace where I would be loved and embraced would be amazing. So thank you.
Well, I'm going to give you, you've got 2 tickets for sure. And if you have additional family members, I heard you mention a couple of kids. If you have additional
Yeah,
family members that you would like to bring to Turning Point, you would be my guests. I would love to have you there.
that's very gracious. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thanks for calling. Hey, do you not have a camera?
I do have, but I didn't realize when I was asking my question that I can talk about all this fine if somebody can't see me, but if I talk about it and somebody can see me, I get more emotional.
I
So
understand.
so that's really the reason why I didn't.
Well, I look forward to seeing your beautiful face in person at Turning Point very soon.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. You take care. Hey, so we've had 2 callers on the show today. The first caller I had, Wendy, she has already won 10 ounces of pure silver. So Alita, I apologize for letting you go. I'm going to put you back on the air, actually. Are you still with me?
I sure am.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to give you the 10 ounces of pure silver.
Oh, oh, that's so nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm that way. I'm nice that way. So we're going to give you, but here's the caveat because nobody
Okay.
voted. I'm going to give you 10 ounces of pure silver, but you've got to collect it in person at Turning Point.
Okay, fair enough.
Good.
Fair
I'll give
enough.
it to
I
you right
love
on
that.
stage. I love that too. So you take
Okay.
care. I'll see you. Hopefully in May at Turning Point.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you.
Making people happy one at a time. Yeah, that's Marshall Silver. Hey, it's been a phenomenal show. You are totally loved. We're wrapping up a little bit early today. Tomorrow, same time, same bat channel. Until we meet again, take good care of each other. We're in this thing called life together. You are totally loved. I'm Marshall Silver, and I want to be your personal millionaire maker. I'll see you on our next show. Bye for now. Hey there, moguls. It's me, Marshall Silver, your personal millionaire maker. Getting very excited about my brand new show coming up 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'm going to broadcast live to you. I'm going to give you content, information, emotional, mental, physical, and even spiritual power. I'll also invite some of my cool multi-millionaire and billionaire friends onto the show to give you more direction, more advice for having it all. All the knowledge to get everything you want and so much more. All you got to do is log in to the show to get information coming to you live from the bunker right here at Studio Money. So stay tuned. Hey, I spaced out. Totally forgot to tell you what the secret word of the day was. You heard me talk about it a lot. I was chatting with David about divorce and all that expense and so forth. Unfortunately, today's secret word of the day, alimony. Alimony. I pray you never have to pay it. But if you do, guess what? $5,500 would be useful in helping you do that. On tomorrow's show, $5,500 up for grabs. I'll see you then.